Hi, my name is Robert Allen. I'm the co-author of Cracking the Millionaire Code, Your Key to Enlightened Wealth. And on this DVD, my co-author and myself, Mr. Mark Victor Hansen, want to share with you how you can achieve financial freedom in the fastest way possible. We're going to talk to you about Cracking the Millionaire Code. And as you watch this next program, you're going to learn how Mark and I teach our proteges. It's in a program we call the Enlightened Wealth Retreat. And as you listen to us talk, you'll learn about what we call enlightened wealth, a new way of achieving financial freedom. Now, at the end of this program, watch very carefully because I want you to have a free copy of this book, a $23 hardcover for your own library for just paying shipping and handling. And there are 2 teleconferences that we want to invite you to be part of. So watch very carefully at the very end of the program and we'll tell you how to achieve that. We want to teach you as much as possible about how you can live this dream called the dream of wealth. And it's possible for you. You can do it. Mark and I have taught thousands of people, and now it's your turn. Good luck. This is your mentor and friend, Mr. Robert Allen, wanting to teach you how to achieve financial freedom now.
Hi, I'm Mark Victor Hansen, and I'm just titillated at the fiber of my being to talk to you. You know me as the Chicken Soup Guy, the co-creator of a book series called Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is now blown past over 100 million sales, and a 1-minute millionaire, the enlightened way to wealth. Well, right now, what I want to do is invite you into a cellular experience, meaning that you've had mental experiences and you've had physical experiences, but what if there was an organization, because there finally is one, that hit you at a cellular level? Well, at EMI, Enlightened Millionaire Institute, what we've done is we've created that. Myself and my partners, Bob Allen and Tom Painter, have said, look, let's put together an organization that makes education effortless ease. Makes it so enchanting that you can hardly wait to get there because you're titillated at the fiber of your being, and you know that not only are you going to make a whole lot of money, but you're going to make a difference that makes a difference with people that make a difference. I know this isn't for everybody, but you'll know, your inner knower will say, yes, this is for me. I've heard about transformational learning. I've heard about what Mark's talking about, is you can go from a caterpillar into the right cocoon, get this blitz learning, and go out and become a high-flying butterfly, and you get to participate with other people that want to be enlightened. Now, but we got the company that's doing the DNA spiraling up, that is enlightened, that are doing great, grand, and terrific things. Yeah, they're making a lot of money. We have students right now that lost their job because they're 60 now. There's ageism going on, and they got fired and they didn't save any money, and they read our book and they went, a husband and wife team went from 0 to $1 million in 4 months and 9 years.
You know what you want. You want a better life. You want something dramatic to happen, to make your life fantastic, and it takes money to do that. Yes, it does. To transform your life, you want to have a lot of money, and you want to have people coach and train you to get to where you want to go. Don't you? That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a millionaire, and I had a mentor to coach me. I would never have made it without that mentorship. Now, we have organized and created a powerful system for mentoring you to where you want to go. And you and I, and a powerful team with a powerful system, are going to be working together. Let's get started right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Victor Hansen and Robert G. Allen.
Hello, everybody!
Hello, ready to go!
Good. Hello, everybody! We want to talk about creating enlightened wealth. And we're not trying to brag that Mark and I are what you would call the poster boys of enlightened wealth. We're not. We're growing just like you are. But we want to give our way to wealth. How many of you want to give your way to wealth? Just think about how one idea has literally transformed lots of people's lives. One idea happened to Mark about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. He and his partner got together, Jack Canfield. They got together with a crazy idea called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Nobody liked that idea. Thought it was the most crazy idea they'd ever heard. Publisher after publisher after publisher says, it's just a collection of short stories. Big deal. But it was an idea that was higher power inspired. It was an idea that they knew was going to be huge. One day, they knew that that book, and those series of books, would be the largest selling series of books in the history of the world. Now, a lot of people, give them a hand, in the history of the world. Why am I talking like this? Forgive me if I get just a little serious. Mark is always having so much fun. You know, a car accident 2 years ago just about killed me. And when you hit a tree at 65 miles an hour in the middle of a rainstorm on a California freeway, and you wake up in the hospital not knowing how you got there, your life changes. Just like that. And everything you used to think was so important becomes almost instantly worthless. And everything that is truly important becomes immediately evident to you. What we want to try to teach you as we start our session together is that we are living what we call the king's new clothes, or the emperor's new clothes in reverse. We want to play it just backwards from everybody else. And we want to start as enlightened entrepreneurs to take a message out to the world that we are going to give our way to wealth. So everybody take out a dollar bill, would you please? You've got a dollar bill in your wallet or purse? All right, so let's hear them. Let's hear them. Let's see if we can hear those dollar bills. All right, you got it. Let's look at it. This is a money seed. You plant this in the ground, it grows. Look on the back side where it's just above where it says 1. It's right there on our money, isn't it? It's amazing how we're supposed to have a separation of church and state. Didn't separate it here, did they? No. Now we're going to take this dollar bill and we have to make it grow. Now if you've heard in the 1 Minute Millionaire and Multiple Streams of Income, we talk about how this dollar bill grows. If you put $1 a day the day you were born, your parents did, well, how much money would there be in your mattress by the time you reached retirement age, 66 years later? How much money would there be underneath your mattress at 0% interest? It'd be about 25,000 of these underneath your mattress. It'd be a pretty lumpy mattress, right? Now, if we put that and made it grow a little bit, if we fertilized it by putting it in some bank account where it could grow, this single dollar bill would grow into about $75,000 at 3%. If I could get a place where I could get 3%.
Yeah, there are 3 functions of money. You've got the amount of money. Everyone say amount.
Amount.
You got the rate of interest, which is what Bob's talking about. Say rate. And then you've got time. Everyone?
Time.
There's no other functions. Everything fits those 3 functions. You've got to memorize those 3 functions, just like you've got to memorize the law of 72, which we'll do in just a minute.
Now, there's a lot of debate lately about, Bush is trying to change the Social Security system. The Social Security system could be fixed in 66 years from today if every single parent with every child that was born put $1 a day away for them and then figured out a way for that money to grow. Let me show you what happens with it. At 3% interest, you could buy a government bond for that. It'd be $75,000 at age 65. If I could get it 5% interest, still at a government bond, at 5% interest would make that $1 bill per day grow into about $200,000.
And that's a double tax-free.
Yeah,
that means no tax.
That's down the road, obviously, and that money may not be worth $200,000 at that time. If I could get that money to grow at 10%, now you're going to be seen in the next 4 days, you're going to be shown way after way after way after way where you can take that money and grow at least 10%. You're going to be shown ways you can make your money grow at 100% or 200% or 500%, let alone just 10. But if I could get it to grow at 10, the single dollar a day would grow into $2.75 million.
Everyone go.
On $1 a day.
That's 2,750,000. Everybody in America can be rich. Bob and I no longer say, do you want to be a millionaire? You need to be. Everyone touch yourself, say, I need to be.
I need to be a millionaire.
Give your neighbor a knuckle jive, say, you need to be a millionaire.
You may not need to be a millionaire if you live in Kansas, but if you live in California, you need to be a millionaire. The word million is not enough. You need 5 or 10, yes or yes? If you could take this money, the same dollar bill, and have it grow at 15%, which is a little stretch, you got to get it to really make it work. That same dollar a day grows into $50 million by the time that little baby is ready for retirement. If I can get this dollar a day to grow at 20%, this same dollar that tiny little baby started with would grow into $1 billion.
Everyone say $1 billion.
$1 billion. There's some people in this room right now who don't know where the next mortgage payment is going to come from. We know because we have been there. We know what it's like to go to a mailbox full of bills that you cannot pay. I know personally what it's like to have the IRS steal a car right out of my driveway. I know what it's like to be so horrifically embarrassed to even show my face at church because I thought they would know how stupid I was. And frankly, I had been stupid. And finally, when I just really admitted and said, wait a second, I am not going to play the emperor's old clothes game anymore. I am going to change my life. I'm going to start and I'm going to build my life in a totally different way. And the first thing I did, from the absolute bottom of my hole, when there was nothing left, where there was so much debt in my life I didn't think I would ever get out, the first decision I made is that whenever I get $1, I don't care where it comes from, God, I will give you the first 10% of it for the rest of my life. If I never make another dime, and I didn't think I ever would. I frankly never thought I would ever be on a stage like this with a man as great as Mark Victor Hansen. I never thought I would. But I said, as soon as every dollar I get, no matter where it comes from, you get the first 10% of it. Just tell me where you want me to give it. I don't care. And then let me spend the other 90% on something else. I'll spend it on me, but you get the first 10%. How many of you have started to become, or I've been tithing more regularly? How many of you do that now? Let me see you raise your hands on that.
Thank you.
Do you think that it is an accident that we have been attracted to each other? Do you think it was an accident that you saw on television commercial, you got a direct mail piece or something, or maybe you picked up a copy of The 1 Minute Millionaire, or you somehow or other, how many of you felt that you were kind of attracted to the way we do what we do as a result of it kind of was almost magical how you kind of stumbled onto us? Let me say, raise your hands on that, like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? Do you think it's an accident? And Mark and I don't believe it's an accident, but we're not going to be here to try to tell you the lie about who we are. We'll tell you what our problems are, what our foibles have been. You know, we both had bankruptcies in our career. We know how bad it is. It's terrible. But it happens to 1.4 million people in America have that happen this year. This year, 1,400,000 Americans will have declared bankruptcy. And they just changed the new laws on it. What we're trying to tell you is that if you can go from where we've been, where we've come from, anyone in this room, as much as you may not think you can. Well, maybe you can't by yourself. As a matter of fact, you can't by yourself. But if you start to build your foundation on principles that are correct, the money will start to flow to you. If you can prove that you will give it away, higher power will give you more. If you prove you give more of it away, more of it will start to flow to you until higher power says, now there's a person I can trust with the money. Up to this point, you just get it in every way you can. Most of the time, the money does get to your head. The money does kind of rust in your soul sometimes. But when you have made the decision that you don't own it, that it isn't yours, that you're going to steward it, that you're going to let it flow through you, that you're going to find groups of people who can be blessed with the money that flows through you. And yes, you will enjoy, and you will live in a nice house, you'll drive a nice car, you'll travel, you'll enjoy all of that stuff. In addition, the first of the money flows through your life. Higher power says, there's a person that I can trust with the money. The money didn't get to them. And therefore, as bad as it may seem financially for some of you, start there. And start watching miracles slowly. Don't expect too much. Slowly start happening.
So the question is, what was our vision? But more importantly, touch yourself, say, what's my vision?
What's my vision?
Because without vision, we perish. With vision, touch yourself, say, I flourish. Everyone?
Your vision has got to be so big, you're too afraid to, you know you can't do it by yourself. You know you can't. If you're setting a goal like I want to become a millionaire, big deal. It's not enough. You have to set it big enough that you have to have other team members to help you, and you have to bring higher power in part of the game. Our goal was we wanted to create a network of enlightened millionaires dedicated to doing good in the world. That's 1 million people. We've attracted people to our Millionaire Hall of Fame, and they're starting to conglomerate a little bit at first, and now it's starting to really go like crazy.
And some of you are going to fill that in before you leave here. And some of you, the other part that Bob and I we just talked about at my office this afternoon, we want you to pledge to yourself right now. Write down how much you're going to really give. If you're going to give $1 million, write it down, because then you're going to be up 10 million, and we think that is a minimum. Everyone say minimum.
Minimum.
We want you to be making, first of all, learn how this year to make $1 million a year. Then we want you, because if you make $1 million, you went through 50,000, 100,000, $250,000, $500,000, $750,000. But then we want you to get to 10 million a year, where you live on 3 and give away 7. Everyone go, wow.
Wow.
We're changing the paradigm, because remember, it's state of mind. God is infinite, and if God is infinite, then God in you is infinite, and if God in you is infinite, then infinite is allowing you to have everything. But, oh, not me, man. I just want to work for a minimum wage. I want to retire and go to Hawaii when I can't enjoy it. Why? I want you to go to Hawaii like our friend Art Linkletter I'm writing a book with, who still surfs at 95, still skis 6 weeks of winter at 95, still has 20,000 employees, has got a brand new Duke solar power. It's as little as your thumbnail that's going to solar electrify the whole planet this year, owns the world's biggest ranch with 1 million acres in Australia, the biggest sheep ranch, and enjoys himself to the hilt at 95. Because age, unfortunately, the government has sold you, rip us off at 65 and get Social Security. Well, the president is telling you, if you aren't listening, there's no money in the till. It was a Ponzi scheme. We never expected to pay you. We don't expect to pay you. We're bankrupt now. We're going to be more bankrupt later. So take care of yourself. That's what he's saying. If you cut the bull, that's half a word. The real truth is, who's got to take care of you? Everyone say, I'm taking care of me.
I'll take care of me.
Was that too rough?
No, that's the truth. We want you to be, obviously, create a way so that you're connected with higher power so you can discover what your $1 million idea is, the one that was destined for you. Higher power knows how to get you there in the fastest possible way. We've decided we wanted to set some goals that were big, obviously, to have $1 billion worth of wealth that we've created through our students.
This year. Everyone say this year.
This year.
Everyone say, part of that is mine. Part of that is mine. Shake your neighbor's hand right and left and enthusiastically look him in the right eye. That gets him in the left brain and say, part of that is yours.
Part of that is yours.
Now, it could be a little part if that's all you'll give yourself, or it can be a big part. Everyone take your hand and say a big part. We want you to catch on to a big part, because it's not that somebody else will have less, because when you have more, everybody has more.
We have helped some people. Obviously, here $572 million has been generated so far in what we call the Millionaire Hall of Fame. How many of you have logged on and put your name into the Millionaire Hall of Fame? May I see you raise hands on that?
Now, Bob and I are not allowed to put our names in because we'd skew it a little bit, so that's not...
Yeah. None of the giving, the charitable giving that is listed up here is our giving. We can't put ourselves up there. So this is all you. This $11 million that was given since we put this up about 18 months ago was given by you. You guys did this.
There's over 10 million. And by the way, this is, most of you are going into equity products, which means you're going to be giving on the way out when you're taking money in. But even I believe that when you refinance, and the first time my wife and I refinanced a property, we pulled out $60,000. We immediately wrote a check for $6,000 because you're supposed to tithe immediately. And I went to put it in a post box, and I went, man, I could buy a lot more property with this. God, I don't really think I should do this. I put it in. Within minutes, the bank, Huntington Savings and Loan, called back. They gave us off 2 points. Now, a point is 1,000 per 100,000. We got back 2,000 a year times 30-year loan. We got back 60,000 on 6,000. Totally impossible. I did not coerce the bank. I didn't call the bank and say, I just tithed. Hey, look, you ought to go multiply this. You ought to tenfold this. Big G and I have been talking, and this is the way it is. It works. Because it's a bigger system than you're dealing with. But most of you are stuck in a sidereal system, and you're stuck in a physical. And Bob and I are saying, look, get to the mental, the metaphysical, but then let's go all the way up to the spiritual, and let's go to the highest heights. Let's go to that exalted, ecstatic state of being where there's no lack. Everyone say no lack. And there's fundamental plenty. Everyone say fundamental plenty.
The reason that a lot of us don't believe these kinds of things is because we've been raised in a world that does not believe what we've been saying to you.
Because scarcity looks like it exists.
We live in a very skeptical world. I mean, they even think about, when you even say the word tithing, they almost say, oh, some rich, greedy preacher's going to get that, you know? And so immediately with that image in their mind, they just shut it off. So I'm not going to give. Well, you don't have to give it to some rich, greedy preacher. Who do you want to give it to? And more importantly, when you let that ponder in your heart and you say, higher power, this is your money. Where do you want me to give it as quickly as possible? And thoughts will come to your mind. You will find yourself just almost effortlessly and magically finding people that you need to give it to. People that need it more than you do. People who you were destined to give it to. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about that when you pay your tithing, that the windows of heaven will be opened to you. And I didn't really ever understand that much, because I went, how does higher power open these windows? I don't see any windows. Where are the windows of heaven?
Where are the windows, Bob?
And then I read a book, Spiritual Economics, I think is what it's called. And he
Eric,
said,
Dr. Eric.
Yeah, there was Eric. He said, you are the windows of heaven.
Everyone say, I'm the windows of heaven.
I'm the windows.
I'm opening my windows, everybody. I know that some of you say that's pretty evangelical, but if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be doing that. So, you know.
In other words, you become who higher power opens the windows through. You say, I am your window.
Everyone say, I am your window.
I'm your window. So where do you want me to open to?
This is a paradigm shift, so we get your feet and hands going in the same direction, which is the way universe goes. Most of us are counterpulsative rather than the way we should be. We've got to move forward a little bit.
So we want to create some success stories. Oh, by the way, there's a friend of ours. Who wants to be an enlightened millionaire, I guess is what we want to talk about. Who wants to be a millionaire? Who wants to be an enlightened millionaire? See everybody's hands on that one?
Say, I do.
Is that your final answer? Okay. Now here's what $1 million bill looks like. And you know, when you've seen this, actually you've seen some of these bills before. They look very real. They look like, that looks like $1 million bill, doesn't it? See it up there? It looks pretty real, doesn't it? Yeah. Now
you print them in your garage.
the $1 million that the millionaire in the old television show used to give, and they would show up at somebody's doorstep and they would go, here is $1 million, as if the power was in the money. No, the power isn't in the money. Because once they've spent that $1 million, what do they have? They didn't know how they made it. Now, when Mark and I show up at the doorstep, and we really do see ourselves doing this on our show, ding dong, we're going to give you a fake $1 million, so you can look kind of what one looks like. And then when we come into your house and we sit in your couch right there in the living room, we're going to show you how the money has always been within 6 feet of you.
Let me just give one quick example. I met the dentist who took a little piece of string. All of you have had a piece of string. Turned it into a thing called dental floss. He has so far outsourced it. Everyone say outsourced it?
Outsourced.
Because you got to learn how to outsource. That's one of the things we're going to teach, because you're not here to do the work. You're here to do the thinking. Point at your table, say the thinking.
The thinking.
This is why Napoleon Hill, who we're standing on Knapp's shoulders, Dr. Hill's shoulders, because it's think and grow. Don't think, stay stupid and poor and unhealthy. We want you to think, grow rich, be healthy, happy, fulfilled, generous, contributing. One little piece of string, he told me he made $2 billion.
On a piece of string?
On a piece of string. Everyone say, I can do this. Because the future of the world depends on who? Everyone say me. The whole world's depending on your knowledge working, coming up to new heights, and Bob and I are asking you to go to a new level.
Well, a level of newness. Well, no, really, it's right here in this room, too. When you think about it, everything you see in this room, besides us, everything we're wearing, everything on the walls, every physical thing you see in this room made somebody millions of dollars. Everything you see. The clothes you're wearing, shoes, necklace there, your glasses, every single thing you can see right now made somebody millions of dollars. What happens when you decide that you could take something you can see right now with your own eyes, sitting in your own living room, and you make the decision, how could I take that and make it better? Every single object you touch for the rest of your life is $1 million seed. Some of them you were destined to change. Higher power said, that's your idea. And other ideas will come to you and you'll go, no, that's not mine, that's not mine, that's not mine, that's mine, that's mine. Oh, but that one's mine. And something will feel right and you'll say, yeah, that was mine. And if each of us did that, you would get the thing you were destined to do. And we would all be blessed by it. You would get the thing you were destined to do, and we would all be blessed by it. You would get the thing you were destined to do, and we would all be blessed by it. Most of us don't listen, and we don't believe that we were destined to become billionaires. Forget about the $1 million number. We could all destined to become billionaires if we just plant the right kinds of seeds.
to you. Give me.
Oh, that's right. Besides that, I want to know how many of you want a $1 million bill. So, okay, come and get a million. Let's give these away. These are just pieces of paper, but I want you to let's take these $1 million and let's turn them into billions. All right, yours out. Get yours out. So they'll be. Mark's got some too, you know. So the book we've written about that is called Cracking the Millionaire Code. Your key to enlightened wealth. Each of you has a different key. Each of your codes are different. Everyone sitting next to you has 4 different codes. But as you crack all of those 4 of those codes, you step into a life of absolute abundance. On February 23rd, 2005, we gathered a group of 153 people and we launched the first Cracking the Millionaire Code. How many of you were
How many of you
there
are
at that
there?
event?
Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Yeah, if
Give
you were
them a round
there,
of applause
if you
for
were
having
there,
the courage
stand
to
up.
come out.
Give them a hand. We knew that we needed 101 days, and 101 days ends on June the 3rd. On June the 3rd is the day when the whole event kind of comes to a close. So we started as a group of people, and there was 158 of us. So not all of us made it into that exact picture, but there's Mark and I and Pat Burns down at the bottom, and here's a group of people in the background. And we said to all of them, we wanted to circle every face, so that as each person achieved their own personal cracking of millionaire code, we would put a circle around their face. I wonder if it's been about 50 days now since we taught this. Has any one of those people have a circle around their face having achieved $1 million in net profit in 50 days, starting from the day we were together? Well, don't be too excited about not everybody. There's just a tiny number. But remember, we're on our way with them. If you go to the Millionaire Hall of Fame, you'll be able to see their names and what they've been able to accomplish. It's all posted up there because they post their own stories. We've already generated over $1 million. And as we look around this, we start to see the faces we've now gone to circle. And what our goal is that by the June the 3rd, almost every one of those faces is going to be circled with some profit, some money they've made, 10,000, 15,000, 75, 100, 200, 300, 500, maybe even $1 million. Is it possible that one of them, 2 of them, maybe a handful of them, could actually in 101 days make a net $1 million? Is that possible?
Neil Cavuto wants you on his show with us, and Neil wants to air you, and he wants to air you 18 times. So some of you that'll make the money will get to tell your story. I mean, we got 115 people that have made $1 million with us in the last 2 years, brand new. But are the rest of you able to do it in a very short time? The answer is?
Yeah.
Now, the belief has got to be up to you, because we already believe for you, so now all you got to do is energize. Everyone say, I got to energize it.
Got to energize.
Because this is a global operation. You just happen to be at our local operation here in Anaheim tonight. But we are operative globally, and a lot of you are going to be meeting and befriending people in Spain and Guatemala and Malaysia and Singapore and Japan and places that you've not been yet, and Nigeria. And a chief from Mozambique was in our seminar this weekend, and he wants to take all of you to places, the 76 countries in Africa, because I'll be touring very shortly with Nelson Mandela, and we'll have 500,000 per seminar that are going to participate with us, and we're going to turn around Africa before most Americans are awake to what we're doing.
We want to play Monopoly with real money. How many want to play Monopoly with real money, not just as a game, but an enlightened game? What we've now started to acquire are some of the people who have achieved their enlightened status. And we're not saying that every person who's ever made $1 amongst our groups has done it in a totally enlightened way. I'm sure there have been all kinds of ways that we make our funds, but we're trying to attract 101 enlightened millionaires to take with us to New York City on the 3rd of June. To launch with us this brand new book, Cracking the Millionaire Code. If you have achieved $1 million status, we want to invite you to what we call the Millionaire Summit. This 4-day event, there's no tuition for it. There's no charge. Obviously, you'll get yourself there and pay the hotels, etc., but we want to gather 101 of our best enlightened millionaires there who can prove you have a net worth of that. If you're part of our students, there's no charge for you.
And that's what we're doing. We're inviting you to take a tour with us. We're going to walk you through the BEA, Book Expo of America, 60,000 authors.
Before we go there, we'll probably go to Random House. This is what Random House's lobby looks like.
Owned by Bertelsmann, which is the biggest company in the book business in the world, and they own the biggest book company in America called Random House. That's me standing at the counter. But by the way, let me tell you why they do this. Just one more thing. They do full security on Bob and I whenever we come in, so if you're with us, you'll get full security. Because the first time we came in with butterflies. And what happened is we released the butterflies, right? We had them in dry ice, then we released them and they fly around. And people were diving under the table going, they're from California, bugs, you know. So the
True,
new
we
book,
did this.
The new
We actually
book,
did release real live butterflies at our publisher's main boardroom. Real butterflies. Have you ever done that before? Oh, it's amazing.
Remember, you're here
It's
to have fun. What are you here to have? Woo!
On Sunday, we're going to teach you the 4 codes you have to crack. You have to crack your destiny code. You have to crack what we call the PRISM code. It's creating a product, a service, information, a media event, something that spells that word PRISM. It's an acronym. A prism that has the light of higher powered flowing through you, refracting into multiple streams of magnificent income for you. That's the PRISM code. The STAR code and the ANGEL code are the 2 other codes. The ANGEL code is how do you attract people to help you? People that are destined to help you, and you destined to help them. How do you attract people in a way that you can trust them? And then how do you find what we call the stars that are out there? There are so many customers that are waiting for your help. And if you treat them like stars, they'll keep bringing their friends back and back and back. If you could just take a customer and love them in such a way that they really appreciated what you did for them and invited just one other person to come into the company that you have. Just one customer per year. If every one of your customers did that, it would double your business every single year. You know how long it would take you for a doubling business every year for you to become a billionaire? If you'll just crack this STAR code, I promise you, the billions will flow into your life. $1 billion have flowed into our life. The billions have flowed in for the businesses that we have created. It's not net income, but it's certainly gross income. And those billions of dollars are going to flow into yours too. Simply the best. We want to show, when you get the book, we're going to show you how to enter the Millionaire Code Vault. The vault, every one of us has a vault. You all have one. Everybody does. You have multi-million dollars worth of fortune just waiting for you if you learn how to crack your own codes. And this is going to be a similar, kind of like what the beginning of our website is going to be about, kind of like something like that. And would you like to come inside our vault? Yes. Well, you want to come inside and wander around in our vault and then wander around your own, yeah?
The first thing we do in 1 Minute Millionaire, it says, you write down, I'm so happy I'm on schedule to be a millionaire. If you've never written it, write it now. Sign it and get your neighbor to sign it. I'm so happy I'm on schedule to be a millionaire, and put a time. I'm so happy, and that includes the kids in here. I'm so happy I'm on schedule to be a millionaire, because the minute you make the decision and consciousness goes into your subconscious makes a provision. You say, well, I want to be stupid and broke my whole life. You'll stay stupid and broke. It's just not a good affirmation. It's counterproductive.
Now here was a survey that just came out this last 2 weeks ago from the Gallup poll. It asked the question, how many of you want to become or have your own business? And looking at the numbers here, find that if you're at 18 to 29 years old, 72% of our young people want to be in their own business. The older you get, obviously it seems like the numbers go down by age, March 18th, 19 to 20. I mean, most people in America want to have their own business. Now, here's what the percentages are. Of all Americans, 57% of all Americans, 90% of whom do work at a job. Most people work at a job, but the vast majority of Americans, North Americans, want to be their own boss. Of those who are employed, 61% of them don't want to work for anybody else. They want to have their own job. And they are going to float around this world and they're going to come up with an idea like you're going to come up with, and they're going to say, I'm going to start a business. And what's the probability that the person who starts that business today, and we were talking about this on Wednesday night, starts that business today, by this time next year, how many of those people who launched today will be still in business? Half of them will be gone. But 5 years, 95% of them will be gone. Most of them will fail. They're going to fail their way. As if you're an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur,
We want you to be a serious entrepreneur and have a real MBA, which means not an MBA like he's got, which is a Master of Business Administration, but a millionaire's bank account. Everyone say, I'm ready.
Got it. Yeah, bank account. So what we're trying to teach you today is that if you're going to just do it in a normal, ordinary way, the odds are 95% against you for you to just launch a business in an ordinary way. We spent a lot of time with Glenn Purdy privately yesterday, and he brought up a thought that I keep forgetting, frankly. He said, if you're going to make it in real estate, guess what do you have to figure out in real estate to really make it work? Frankly, if you're buying and selling property that's already developed, somebody owned it, got in trouble and had to sell it, there's really only about one thing you need to figure out, how to find out how to motivate a seller and then buy it. It's just one thing you got to do. If you want to launch a business, though, you have to have about 6 or 7 things to do in order to make it work. Just think about the things you have to make it work. You got an idea in your head, that's one thing. What else do you have to do to get that idea to actually produce money for you? Got to have a plan. All right, what else got to come? Come on, give me some more. Got a team of people. Got to have employees. Yep, what else? Got to do some marketing. Got to write marketing pieces and advertising. Yep, what else?
Some money.
I got to get some money. Got to finance it. I got to manufacture the darn thing. Whatever is it? It's an idea, a service, a product, whatever. And then I've got to service the customers. I got to take care of them. I mean, there are a lot of things that have to be done in order for you to be successful in business, where there's a very few things that need to be done in order for you to be successful in real estate. But real estate is just one of our streams of income. You should have real estate and a business and the stock market and a whole bunch of other things. But when it comes to business, some of us have businesses. How many of you have a business where you're marketing a service or an idea or a product right now? Let me see, raise your hands on that. See, look at these entrepreneurs, lots of you. What we're trying to do in Cracking the Millionaire Code is to show you that in order for it to be successful, to get through all the problems of making this business work, because we all want to make our businesses work, you're going to have to learn how to crack the code. And so cracking the wealth code is about cracking these 4 codes, called the Destiny Code, the Prism Code, the Angel Code, and the Star Code. And we're going to try to get through as much of this as we can get with you today. The Destiny Code, the Prism Code, the Angel Code, and the Star Code. They may not mean too much to you now, but when you really realize that all successful businesses, the millionaires and the multimillionaires, the ones that really work, have cracked all 4 of those codes. And the ones that don't work, the ones that do fail, end up cracking 1 or 2 of them, but not all of them. And eventually they do fail. They fail. I was driving to the hotel on Saturday morning. The guy was a limo driver, and he's telling me all about how things were going on and how his life was going. He says, I used to own my own delivery company. I had 10 different cars, and people were doing great, and I was delivering all kinds of products. And then 9/11 happened. It's from 9/11, bam, my business completely fell off the map. I lost all my cars, I lost all my businesses, all my accounts stopped because of the security issues of people coming inside their businesses. The security issues just stopped it. And business was dead. It was dead within 4 months. And now he's back driving a car all by himself, working for somebody else. So the risks are kind of dangerous out there. And what we want to make sure you understand is that you not only need to have the right kind of systems to make your business work, but you have to have multiple of them to give you the safety that you need. So let's just talk about the 5 principles, and we're going to cover this just briefly. What we call, your business has got to grow at the speed of light.
Everyone say the speed of light.
The speed
it is an
of light.
acronym, and Bob is going to tell you what it means.
Well,
remember,
at
Bob?
the speed of light. I forgot the L stands for lovely. Light. Well, we use that acronym.
You know, he had a car accident. He has short-term memory loss. Say, oh. No, he didn't forget.
You heard a lot of us talking about this enlightened word, and obviously we're going to be branded with that word. And what we're trying to teach, what it really means, is to build a foundation under your business where your business can survive it, where your business can be prospered and protected in a way that's almost supernatural.
Everyone say prospered and protected.
Prospered.
When Bob and I were walking back from church this morning, it was very interesting that that's where we were living, because our business, all you got to do is look around this room. It's packed on a Sunday morning. This is not normal in the seminar business. What happens is that we're doing the right stuff right. One of which is, we say, look, the first 10% you got to give back. We're not saying it has to be to a church or its equivalent, but you got to give back.
What we're trying to say is the concept that Mark and I have been talking about, and we're not the only ones, and we're not the earliest ones, but there is something happening to capitalism. It's being transcended. Old-style capitalism is going to go. It has served its purpose. It has got us to the point where we can now create wealth. Now, new-style capitalism, enlightened capitalism, or enlightened entrepreneurship is going to start to take hold. You're going to see articles like that in all the major magazines. You're going to start to feel it all over the place as people start to say that the reason that they created their wealth was because they were creating their businesses to become a source of giving, not a source of getting. And a source of getting is now old-style capitalism. How many of you want to help spread that message? Let me see you raise hands on that. That's what we want to be about. And so we start here in a place where we can gather and enjoy ourselves, and then we go back into the world that all believes in old-style capitalism, where money is the secret, where we're pursuing your own individual pursuits and getting what you want only for you, and on hoarding as much as you can has got us where we are now. Now is the time for us to go to a new level. And that's what that LIGHT acronym stands for. It stands for, oh, by the way, this came out in the USA Today. Look at this. It's smart to give back. Look at that. Volunteerism varies by education level. In 2002, 29% of U.S. adults did charity work by completing school, by those who completed schooling. In other words, if you went to grade school, only 8% of people who went to grade school give back. But if you went to graduate school, 53%. In other words, the smarter you are, the more it's necessary to give.
Because here's what happens. We believe that you start at the end. Where do you start at the
end?
Our dear friend Jim Rohn, the greatest business philosopher perhaps of our time, says, don't start a day till you finish it. Don't start a week until you finish it. Don't start a year until you finish it. Why would you start your life being an adult for most of you? We've got a few kids in here, but most of you haven't set up what are your life agendas. Because if you will write a 100-year agenda, some of you will finish a 100-year agenda in 10 years. Some of you can finish in a year, because most of you are underusing your capacity. And what we're saying here is if you'll make I did this on Wednesday night, but we'll do it again, make an infinity sign in the air this way, everybody. And then the right-hand side say residual income.
Residual income.
Left-hand side say residual philanthropy.
Residual philanthropy.
Residual philanthropy means that you figure out what it is that you are here to score for. You are coded at DNA and RNA, we believe, to score for something. I don't know what you're to score for. One of the things we're to do is our mission, which we're coded together for, is to eradicate poverty, which we think is the greatest slavery on the planet right now. And some of you have been there. Both of us have been there. Both of us have been hanging out by our fingernails so low we had to reach up to touch bottom, and we said, hey, look, we're going to get out of this, and when we do, we promise we'll bring everybody we can up with us. Now, we can't do it for you, but we can hold up the mirror, let you look in it, and say, yeah, I see that I've got a bigger me. Everyone say there's a bigger me. Yeah, and you got to just, everyone say, I'm shaking off the little me. Everyone,
I'm shaking off the little me. So if you're going to see the end from the beginning, you go all the way to the end and you say, wow, if I really made huge amounts of money, what would I do with it? And once you've bought the Mercedes and you got all the cars and you got it out of your system. And once you've got the beautiful house and it's filled with all kinds of gorgeous stuff that just gets older and older and older. And you got that out of your system, and frankly, we almost all got to get it out of our system. Mark and I have got it out of our system, but it means we got it. We got it. And then you go, okay, now I've got everything I've ever wanted. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? You're going to give, you're going to give, you're going to give, you're going to give. So let's start right there. Not as a way of being obnoxious to you, but we're trying to tell you we want you to get everything in your life. We want you to have all the magnificent stuff, abundance completely overwhelming you, and so much to give. So we're going to talk about residual philanthropy here and models that you're going to be using when you're that wealthy. And we want you to allow that little negative voice sometimes in your head that says, well, you don't have that kind of money yet. Just turn that one off and just say, go away for a while. Just go to sleep. Turn that negative voice off and say, one day, this is the way your life is going to be like.
So this is the 10th chapter in our book, so this is the end. And it said, why give once when you can give continuously? The only lack we have in the world is lack of consciousness. Everyone pointing at your table say lack of consciousness.
Lack of consciousness.
This is why we've done such a heavy foundation, because if the foundation... Was I the only one that heard that? Yes. I saw Bob Hope once, and he kept saying, I hear a ring, and he kept saying it so much that people started laughing, thinking it was part of a joke line. And what happened is that it was a domical shape. We were in Denver in a geodesic, and there were windows all the way around, and the crickets were coming in, and he was the only one that could hear the crickets. And so it made him crazy. Anyhow, the only shortage is awareness. Establishing your goals of residual philanthropy in the early years make your business successful. Everyone say today.
Today.
Now wait a second. Some of you say, well, show me how that works. Well, we want all of you, when you come to New York, one of the places we're going to take you is, and go alone if you don't go with us, is 91st and 5th Avenue. Our hero is Andrew Carnegie. You go through his house. I also want you to go to Scotland, to Dornoch, Scotland, and go to his 60,000-acre estate, sort of like the movie we showed you on Wednesday night. But Andy said, I'll spend the first half of my life making the money, the second half of my life giving it away to do the most good and least harm. And as far as we're concerned, he benefacted education, 2,856 libraries. I wrote a book called The Miracle of Tithing.
How many of you have read The Miracle of Tithing?
Businessmen look at it and say, what's the miracle of tithing? And I said, you haven't been tithed enough lately.
How would they get a copy of it, Mark?
How do you get a copy? Just call 800 Soup Book and tell them you get it at
800
wholesale.
Soup Book and get a copy of it. It's a great little book. You'll love it.
Yeah, anyhow,
Free.
I teach different than anybody else. Everybody else teaches tithing as your treasure. That's the last. The first is thinking. Point at your mind and say thinking.
Thinking.
Point at your neighbor's temple and say thinking.
Thinking.
And this is why, and we got Diane Baker is in the room somewhere. Are you here still? I saw you.
Thinking.
She had to leave. Okay, Diane Baker is she's finishing a process. When that terrible tsunami hit and we had a 650-mile, tectonic plate move, and I'd just been in Phuket, Thailand, a year and a half ago, and it was so beautiful and so scrumptious, one of the most idyllic places, one of the places I'd like all of you to have gotten to visit. It was gone. As were 4 countries wiped out. And we said, well, what do I want you to do? Well, I start with thinking. Where do you start with?
Thinking.
And I still want all of you to take 10% of your frequent flyer miles, but now I want you to call Delta Sky Miles or United's equivalent and say, I want you to give them to Northwest Medical Team, because we're still sending medical teams over because we've got 500,000 people not fed. We started with Habitat, and then Habitat had its own little internal disruption. But you start with thinking, time, talent, and then treasures. Treasures is last.
It's all about trusteeship. Old-style capitalism is about ownership. Enlightened capitalism is about stewardship. The money flows through you. It doesn't stop with you. If you ever doubt that question, how many of you own your own home or apartment or condo? How many own your own place where you live in? How many? Raise your hands on that one.
Good.
Walk around the house one day and notice how it's built. Notice the grass and the foundation and the walls, and ask yourself a question: how long is this house going to be here? Will this house be here long after I am gone? And you'll say to yourself, wait a second, this house might be here for another 200 years. I won't be here another 50, 80, 100, 120. You're going to hold it for a short period of time, and then you're going to steward it. You're going to take care of it, and you're going to pass it on to somebody. And eventually you learn how to become a steward. Now, steward is when you become abundant. Ownership is when you become scarce. Scarcity is an ownership concept. If you own it, it's a very scarce thing. You're the only one that's got it. But if you're the steward of it, you say to yourself, I'll control it for a period of time, and then it'll be given to this person and that person and this group of people and maybe that charity, and for 100, 200, 300, 500 years, the abundance of that concept just opens up your soul.
Are you doing mortal goals, meaning short term, am I going to make it through today? And the bigger they get, the easier they are. So you want to be doing immortal goals. And when I heard Schuller say that, I came back to Bob and I said, we've built an institution. We're going to create $1 trillion, and we're going to have a facility that's one of the things we're going to build, and it's going to be built for tens of thousands of years. Just like a lot of you have been to Rome, and we just saw probably the greatest funeral in human history. 5 million people. That's the number I got. The number may be higher, but that's the number I have from the media I read. 5 million people spontaneously showed up. I was in Washington during the occasion, and the ambassador to Vatican City was in my class at Horatio Algiers along with Tom Selleck and a few other people, but Jim Nicholson came back in Air Force One with 3 presidents and said it was the most spectacular thing, and he flew all the way back overnight, and on Sunday morning he addressed us in Washington 2 weeks ago and said, he made all of us cry. I'm not going to take you there, but it said that this Pope had done some immortal things, and that's what we're asking you to go to, higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of awareness. That's what residual philanthropy is at its highest and best.
So I want you to go out 10 years, 15 years, I don't know how far it would be, when you've achieved the kind of wealth you want, and there's going to be a group of people, a church, a cause of philanthropy, something that really you feel inspired, interesting word, you feel inspired to steward to. You feel how does higher power inspire you? How will you know where the money is supposed to flow through you to? How will you sense it? How will you know? It'll just kind of distill on your soul. You'll just kind of know. You'll just know. So the word enlightened obviously stands for leverage. It's finding what you love to do, because that's part of your destiny. What you love to do is you. What your inner wealth is building the inner part, and then the outer part flows to you. Giving, we've talked a lot about that. Higher power, and bringing in the more enlightened and inspired parts. And then becoming a trustee of your residual philanthropy, which we talked about here this morning.
Everyone say I'm a trustee. Everyone, I'm a... Because Bob and I are saying it, we'll just hit it one more lick, is that you've got to be a good steward. Not maybe you got to be. You got to steward your earnings, your savings, your investing, and then your giving, but you've got to figure it out in advance. That's what most of us haven't done. That's why my cliche is don't think it, ink it, delegate it to document. Write it down. And we're saying write down your 100-year goals, and most of them are going to be accomplished. Some of them is as short a time as a day or a week or a year. Just because most of you have been scared, everyone say, I'm releasing all fear. Take your hand, shake it off, say, I'm releasing all fear. I'm releasing all rejection. I'm releasing all abandonment issues. And all of us got them, and we're not going to go into any of that part of we'll do experiential stuff. We've got some stuff we're going to tell you that'll be experiential coming up that you'll be invited to.
So when you say the word light, that's kind of that's the acronym that it means. When I talk about the speed of light, that's the principles that we kind of base this on, and it just takes one idea from an enlightened person to live like the king for the rest of your life. So what is going to be the idea that gets, inspired in your heart? What was the idea that she got? And she's in a train and she's heading to London, and this idea just flashes in her head. She said, I have never been more excited about an idea in my life. This is a woman who's on welfare. Actually it was before she went on welfare. She was eventually going to be married. She was going to have a child. She had a miscarriage. Her mother died when she was 45 of, I think, multiple sclerosis. She had a rotten time after she had that idea. Then 2 years later, when she had nothing, she had been in Spain and she was ready to come back to England. She was on welfare. She says, the idea I had 2 years ago when I had something, now I've got nothing and I have no choice left. I have to do this. She starts to write the book that makes her a billionaire. And
I want to hitchhike on that story. Before we go on to the next guy, which we've got a second story about, is that Tina Turner, who's back performing again. And if you've never seen Miss Turner, when I brought my little kids the first time when they were 2 and 5, they were dancing in just scant seconds here at the Arrowhead Pond behind us. But when Ike took everything and left her with 27 cents, and she worked right here in Glendale as a maid, but the general manager was nice to her. And then all of a sudden, Mick Jagger looked for her and said, look, you've got way too much talent to be a maid at a hotel. Just because you're having a little setback, you come out and perform for me. She made all the money back. She came, bought this little hotel in Glendale, goes into the GM, the general manager, and said, here's the keys. You are now the proud owner just because you treated me right.
Isn't that a cool story?
That is enlightened. Bob and I are saying there's some cool stuff you got to plan to do when you're broke. Because what we learned in Think and Grow Rich, which we hope you read, and we're standing on the shoulders of Dr. Napoleon Hill, and neither of us met him. He was sort of gone when we were just coming online, but we were both part of a lot of things that Knapp did. But Knapp said, when riches begin to come, they come in such avalanching, overflowing abundance, you wonder where they've been hiding during all the lean years.
Isn't that a
You've
great
got to
quote?
have it planned.
Say that quote again. That's such a powerful quote.
When riches begin to come, everyone?
When riches begin to come.
They come in such avalanching, everyone?
They come in such avalanche.
Overflowing
Overflowing.
abundance that you wonder where they've been hiding during all the lean years.
You will be high to all lean years.
Because when it hits all at once. I mean, you know, Bob and I could tell you all the cool stuff happening to us, and we are living John 10:10, the abundant life. It's not maybe we're there, we're there. You know, all you got to do is look around this room and see we're there. And neither of us have to work. But the reason you work is because we don't want you to work. That's the wrong model. You've been taught the wrong model. We don't want you to work play. That's still the wrong model. We think your right model, there's a new word we've created, is work ecstasy, which is works-to-see. Everyone say works-to-see?
Works-to-see.
Which goes along with our other friend, Dr. Stanley Mason, who's the world's most profitable inventor. Stanley invented stuff you use and you've never thanked him for. He invented the Band-Aid. He's got 8 daughters. He invented the tampon. He invented the disposable diaper. And I'll go back to that in 1 second. He invented the granola bar. He invented microwave cooking, and he does one new invention a year and makes 10 million extra. Make 10 fingers, say 10 million extra. And this is unenlightened as far as Bob and I are concerned. These two guys are enlightened. Yeah.
Now, where did that idea come from? Think about that for a second. These guys came out of nowhere. Where did that idea come from?
Everybody was bigger than that. Now they wear Brioni suits and tennis shoes, and their stock went straight up, and it has kept going up. I haven't read it lately. But
some of you are happy about that.
But what happens is that we checked our model on these guys because what we say is to 100-fold, which we're going to teach you in a minute, the sigmoid curve. Everyone say sigmoid curve?
Sigmoid curve.
Those of you that have studied business, sigmoid curve, you go down, then you go up, it accelerates, plateaus out, and comes down. That is a one-off. And Bob and I are in my office, and we're looking at all the plaques where I've had all those books bestseller, and I said, why did we sell more? And we had Chicken One, where we sold 1.5 million, a year and a half is our goal. We did 1.3 million. But while it was going up, and we were going Mach 3 with our hair on fire, 365, 24/7, we immediately came out with the second helping, and then we came out with a teenage soul. It sold 19 million off the shoots, which what happened is, when we looked at these guys, and we looked at all the other people, because everyone says, Bob, you could double, but you can't really 100-fold.
100-fold.
100-fold. Well, these guys last year grew 16,847% in 1 year. Everyone take your hand and go. Now, what they did is, one of my companies is LexisNexis. How many attorneys do we have in here? LexisNexis, basically, attorney, what does LexisNexis do? Their state of research. What happens is nobody knows, but Google was smart enough to, here's what we taught. We said, number one, on Wednesday night we started, you got to have a dream. Everyone say a dream.
Dream.
Number two, you got to have a team. Everyone take your index fingers like this, please. Put them together and say 1 and 1 equals. Team means together, everyone accomplishes miracles. The team behind them that nobody knows is LexisNexis, plugs in part of the puzzle. What Bob and I are saying is your life is a mosaic. It takes a village to raise you. It takes a village to raise your business. It takes a village, and you put in some of the parts and the rest of the parts show up. But the biggest part we're trying to get is you got to write down what your passionate purpose is. We don't know what it is. Touch yourself, say, what's God's destiny for me? Everyone?
What's God's destiny for me?
These guys had everybody fight. By the way, he was here. Is Troy in the room right now?
Troy was here on Wednesday night, I think.
He was here Wednesday and Thursday, but you all saw him on The Apprentice.
I mean, there are all kinds of ideas. So the question is, how do you get an enlightened idea? This is a simple process. And when you read the Cracking the Millionaire Code book, we teach you how we get our ideas. We 3B them. You know, is to be or not to be, or 3B or not 3B?
Yeah, Shakespeare was wrong. He missed to be.
The question is,
body, brain, and being. Being is your spiritual essence.
Your body is a receptacle for ideas. Your being, your spirit, is a way to come up with great ideas. Your brain is a source of powering ideas. When you exercise, when you have a regimen every day with the goal that I'm going to have a $1 million idea today. I'm going to have an idea that is going to 100-fold me then you focus in on having all those three pieces together. So each of us has a regimen that we go through. His is different than mine, and you have a regimen that you go through. Since your entire life is a 24-hour period of time, you could take your entire life and you can summarize it into one day. If your entire life is one day, how do you want to start your day? And we've talked a little bit about this. I have a regimen that I go through, my being, my body, my brain. And then I have my little recorder. And my brain just pops off ideas like crazy. I'm just like sparks are flying because I focus in on getting those three pieces together. Mark has a different way of doing and getting his brain and body and being to create his $1 million ideas. How do you do yours?
Well, that's less relevant than what you need to do is monitor what you do, and we're asking you to journal here. I mean, Oprah says the two most important things she ever did is read 2 books a week. 2 books a week! Obviously, we want you to start with ours. And I'm up 101 on just chicken, so you got a lot of reading to do. If I could do it, you could do it. Number 2, more importantly, is journal, and you journal your future. And the model real quick is, when she's sitting with Steven Spielberg when they made Color Purple, this is called a model. Everyone say a model?
Model.
Spielberg is writing in his journal, he's going to do a new company called Dream. She said, can I copy that model in my journal? He said, of course. She writes it in. She takes her name, Oprah, backwards, and it is? He writes down he's going to be a billionaire. She writes down she's going to be she's the first billionaire. Now some of you are catching it and you're writing down I'm going to be a billionaire. It doesn't cost anything to write this stuff, but the minute you write it, it is already true. All you do is catch up. All you do is synchronize in time and space. You're announcing the truth in advance. Everyone say in advance.
In advance.
We announced in advance that you would be here. Here you are. We're announcing right now that there's going to be 1 million of you in our seminars in the future. Some of you are going to become our trainers.
When you receive this, you don't have to fill out your traditional financial statement, but the question is, how much are you worth? And the real question is, who's asking? If your banker is asking how much are you worth, what are they usually talking about? Yeah, what's your financial statement? And your financial statement looks like this. The assets that I own, I got cash flow, I got credit, I got collateral. And the other sides, the other enlightened assets that you possess, will be on the other side of this statement. Your creativity, your chutzpah, your confidence, your charisma. So each one of you take one of these, and here's what we want you to do for just 5 minutes. When you get home, you can fill out your traditional financial statement. Keep it for yourself. It talks about all the things you own and all the money you owe. And when you subtract what you own from what you owe, you end up with a net figure, hopefully. And hopefully one day you'll be a millionaire, meaning you'll have $1 million worth of assets, net assets that you own. The other side of the financial statement is the thing that very few people ever think about. We call it your enlightened wealth statement. How many of you have not yet received one? We'll be passing them out here. You'll be receiving one. Those of you who have received one, you're going to see that there are certain hidden assets that we all possess. And these hidden assets are the source of your wealth. What kind of intangible assets do you possess that the banker usually doesn't ask about? Okay? And the first one that each of you has is, they may not be, all of you have 101 dreams, but Mark has challenged you to write down at least 101 goals. What's your statement you call on that? Your 100 goal statement?
Yeah, what you need to do is, when you get home, your goal is to write 101 goals. And if you're not a millionaire, obviously we said write down I'm on schedule to be a millionaire. But you want to write down, and you can go to my website and pull it out, but fill in the blank. Like my perfect home has how many bedrooms, how many closets, swimming pool, what kind of deck, what kind of windows, all that stuff. So you fill that out, and you fill out my ideal cars, the charities I want to donate to, and it's just fill in the blank so you can do it, because most of you don't get your good because the spiritual law in Habakkuk says write a thing. Everyone say write a thing?
Write it.
Make it clear. What does it got to be? Clear. See, because most of you, if I talk to you one at a time, you say, well, I just want more money, so what I'd do, give a quarter?
Nope.
Well, if I had a quarter, I'd just say, well, here's a quarter. Well, now you got more money, but that isn't what you really wanted. It's got to be clear. You got to get definite with the infinite so the infinite can get definite with you. Everyone point at your temples, say, that's interesting.
And we said this morning that one of the lessons I learned about how the brain works is to make your goals multisensory. So that's why we call them dreams here. It's not just a goal like I am going to have $1 million net worth, I want you to make it multi-sensory and to turn it into a dream. And one of the goals that we want you to do when you get home, when you have dreams you have, is to write down 101 of those in multi-sensory ways. It may take you months to do this, by the way. But the more you build more dreams into your life, the more you're going to find yourself naturally doing them. As you look at this enlightened wealth statement,
get the 101 goals done fast. I want you to sit in a group of 4 and listen to other people's dreams. Everyone's going to be okay with your dreams and you'll be okay with theirs. But when they say, well, I want X, like I need to get this skill, I need to learn how to swim, or, I want to go with Mark and Bob to help plant the coral and bleach, so I need to know something about biology, I need to get PADI certified, I need to learn how to swim, I need to learn how to snorkel, I need to learn how to dive, right? All that stuff. And you start writing down your goals, it'll become fast. Everyone say it's going to be fast. Because begun is half done, and all you got to do is get them in writing, and what happens is they start to click. Click your fingers and say, my goals are clicking. Everyone? My dreams are clicking. Now look at your neighbors just like Fonz would and say, your dreams are clicking.
Your dreams are clicking. Turn to your enlightened wealth statement. On the left-hand side would be assets, hidden assets that you own. How much is your life worth? How much are your spiritual beliefs worth? Meaning, if you have them, but if you didn't have them, or if you could sell them, like, you know what, I don't want my spiritual beliefs anymore. Would somebody just buy them from me, please? And you would never be able to get them again. What would you sell them for?
What would you sell your IQ for?
What I want you to do is to quickly, rapidly go down this left-hand column and tell me what those items are worth to you right now. The question is, why doesn't the banker look at this stuff? Because the hidden assets we have will be the source of all the money we ever make. And the hidden liabilities sometimes we hang on to will be the thing that stops us from making all the money we'll ever make. And none of it's ever talked about in our banker's financial statement. In fact, everything on your financial statement, traditional banker's financial statement, is completely worthless. The money, the credit, the collateral is all worthless. You can make it from nothing. You don't need credit, you don't need cash, you don't need a job, you don't need anything except what's on your enlightened wealth statement. That is important stuff. You can drop me in any city and to take away my wallet and bankrupt me, and I've been there, and I am going to take my enlightened wealth statement and I am going to make it back again. I'm going to fill up whatever the banker wants. I can fill that up again. It comes from your enlightened wealth statement. It is the absolute source of everything. Most of you come into a room like this and you're all stuck on the banker's view of the world. Like you've got to have a good credit rating, and you're so desperate to keep your credit clean. Oh, and it's nice, it's good, I'm glad you are. But both Mark and I became millionaires with the worst credit you can imagine. All right, how would you behave differently if you knew you were worth $100 million? Think about it for a minute. On your banker statement, if you knew you were worth $100 million, how would you behave differently? Well, you'd probably get rid of the car you're driving right now, right? How would you behave differently? That's where the wealth starts from. It's when you know you are already worth $100 million. Now let's play that way. Okay?
Don't spend that way. This is a mental simulation,
this
like
is how you would
driver's
know.
ed or Bob and I are pilots.
That's how you know.
So you're going to go from the little picture, everyone make a little square, say, I'm going from my little picture, without whacking your neighbor, say, into the big picture.
All right. So the PRISM code is, how can I learn to see like an enlightened millionaire? Now, okay, so all right, so you're valuable, you got all kinds of worth and yada, 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 and you're connected with God, so what? So how do I start to see the world of money the way an enlightened millionaire sees the world of money? See people and opportunities and objects that have value to them. Most people don't see it. You put on your 3B glasses and you start to see with million eyes and million ears and million aromas and million tastes and million arms. You begin to become a sensing machine. You literally, when you're inspired and intuited, in spirituition, you might want to call it, when you are wandering through the world and you are now connected, everything now becomes valuable. Every object now is $1 million object. When we talked on Wednesday night, we were joking a little bit about us going to people's houses and having a reality TV show where we go into their house and we knock on the door and we give them $1 million bill, one of our phony ones, and we say, "Here's $1 million bill. We're gonna make $1 million from your very house." Okay. Well, what do we see? How do Mark and I see things differently than you do? When I walk into a real estate property and I walk in that house, I'm looking for flexibility. That's my method. That's the only thing I'm looking for, flexibility. I'm saying, who is the flexible person in this drama called real estate? I'm looking for somebody that's flexible. Let's see, is the realtor flexible? Would the realtor lend me his or her commission? Does the seller flexible? Does the seller need to sell this thing? I don't know. There are 9 players in the game called real estate. 9 of them. And we're all in a little play. And I want to be the owner of this property eventually, and I got to talk to those 9 people in such a way that those 9 people will turn that property over to me somehow. People always say, "Can you buy property with nothing down?" It's impossible to do that these days. Well, I can always borrow 100% of the money from some partner. Take that money of that partner, go ahead and buy the piece of real estate. Big deal. That's nothing down to me, right? So these 9 players in the game, I have to have this little play that I'm putting on. And each person's playing a different role. And when I walk into a piece of real estate, I see it differently than you do. I'm in there looking at, I'm saying to myself, does God want me to own this house? I literally feel it. I'm walking through this home and I know, no matter what kind of money I have or what kind of deals or opportunities are coming on, I just sense it. And when I sense it, then I go off, okay, then I've just got to work with these 9 people to figure it out somehow. Do you have an intuitive strength, courage that strong? How many of you have a good intuition? See, raise your hands on that. How do you do your intuition? If you were to receive an intuitive hunch, how would you do it? How would you know that you should buy that house? How would you know it? Is it a feeling you have? Is it a little voice that says, "Yeah, this is the one right here"? Or is it a flash of insight where you can literally see it all beautified and the walls are painted and you just see it? Each of us has our own way of doing intuition, and we don't have really time enough to spend it this afternoon to talk about it. We might talk a little bit more about it when we go into the Power of Persuasion seminar, the 3-day that I'm going to gift you, the proteges. But in addition to this powerful intuition you've already received, which is your gift of brilliance, higher power also communicates to you. As she was saying, you have ways that higher power talks to you. I want you to do it as an enlightened way. When you walk in that property, I want you to literally sense whether this is yours or not. Walk in. Is this the one? And if you get a good hit on it, if you feel good about it, then you go into it with much more congruency, like, yeah, something about this property is going to change my life. Now, when you get a negative intuition where it goes, don't buy this property, don't buy this one. Have you ever had that? I had that one on a beautiful property, multi-million-dollar piece of property, and my intuition said, don't buy this one. But my greed bully said, think of how wonderful it will be when you own this property and you'll be rich. And I would not listen to my intuition. And that one mistake cost me $10 million and wiped me completely out. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. When you walk into your building, your intuition is going to let you know. If you haven't yet learned how to coach your intuition to that level, then when you drive home tonight, drive home following your intuition. Should I turn left here or right here? Just follow it. Learn how to follow it. Like I said, we could spend hours on this. The first step, you walk in and you go, is this the one? Then, each of the 9 players in the real estate deal has to be analyzed. Is it the property itself? Is it the tenants? Could the tenants help somehow? Is it the realtor? Is it the lender? Is it a partner lender? Is it a mortgage holder? Is it an investor who we could create a note and discount the note and get the cash from it? In other words, each one of these players in this game has to be kind of visualized in a sense. And when I walk into a piece of real estate, I just know who to talk to. And I start to talk to them like, how can I help you solve this problem? And because I come into it without like me greedily trying to beat them down to the lowest dollar I can possibly get this property for, when I come into it and say, boy, you got a problem here, let's try to solve it. And if I can't buy it, I can't buy it. Let's help you figure it out. And then a lot of times they'll say, okay, I'll take your help. And you help them and you get nothing. You get nothing. And every once in a while a person will say, I don't want it. One of our students it was a millionaire now. It was a wonderful Hispanic family from right here in L.A. This lady had a person come in and steal her house from them, stole it from her. And how'd they steal it from her? She was starting to be late in her payments. They found out through one of these foreclosure lists. They called her on the phone and said, we'll take care of you. We'll pay you money. Just hang on. And they drug her out on purpose to the last day of the foreclosure sale. And she finally says, you guys were supposed to take care of me. What's going on here? She says, we were just, frankly, just dragging you on. I don't know why they ever told her. They shouldn't have told her, frankly. But as soon as she called our Hispanic gentleman, who's a wonderful guy. He's going to New York with us. And he had come to her early on and said, can I help you? And she loved this kid. But he couldn't have she had already committed to sell to these other guys. And as soon as she found it, she went back through all the people who had called her. There must have been 50 people had talked to her about buying her house in foreclosure. This was 2 years ago. And who did she remember? The kid who had tried to help her. That was the person who stood out to her. It was the enlightened person, frankly. She called him on the phone. She says, I'm going to foreclosure tomorrow. And so he had 24 hours to raise about $50,000 in cash. And let me tell you, the hoops he went through to get it, you would be surprised. But he was there at the foreclosure sale with a cashier's check within 24 hours and bought that house. And you know why he bought it? Because she said, I'm going to lose it, I know. But if anybody in the world is going to get it, I want you to have it. And when I heard that story, I mean, like just what you did, I go, oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an enlightened person, and what I believe is that higher power does get you the deals. The deals do fall in your lap. They just do. In a magical, incredible way. They really do, don't they? They just do. And it's crazy to talk about it. Now he said to her, let me help you get into a house. He made $160,000 on that house, by the way. $160,000 cashier check dollars. And he said, now, ma'am, she says, I'm out. I'm done, because he said, let's go find you a house. Let's take some of that money and let's put you into a house that you can afford. And he took the next step. He didn't have to. Took the next step. Now, you talk to that woman about this young guy, and she used a word that I want you to remember. She says, he was my angel. He was my angel. Does she love this kid even now? What I'm trying to teach you is that when you see real estate, you have to see it in a totally different way. You're not kind of trying to do a deal where you beat somebody down and get the lowest possible price so you can put it on the Millionaire Hall of Fame. I mean, that would be the worst story you could have, is you beat somebody down to the bottom so you could put some numbers on the Millionaire Hall of Fame. You walk into that home and you say, God, what do you want me to do in this house? Is there somebody who needs some help? Somebody was in that house praying for a solution. Are you the solution? Or are you the problem? You come into that house as the solution. And you say, higher power, all this talk about tithing and stuff. People usually pay tithing for the wrong reasons. They pay tithing because they assume that if they'll put their 10% in, that God will give them 10 times that, right? Isn't that the certificate of deposit in some higher power bank? Don't do that. Don't ever do that. When you give because you are so grateful. You are so overwhelmingly appreciative of the breath you take, that giving 10% to anybody to help them is such a privilege to you that you can't even believe anybody allows you to do that. And you expect absolutely nothing back. If you expect it back, you didn't give it right.
So the prism is a word. The first one means P stands for product. Everyone say product? Now, there's all kinds of products. I mean, there's hair products, there's car products, all kinds of products. Second P?
The PRISM is an acronym that we use a lot. Your business is going to do one of these 5 things. It's either going to be a product or a related product. For instance, an automobile is a product. What would be a related product to an automobile? A tire.
Yeah, the mirror. I met the lady whose husband invented the mirror. She makes her name's Prince. We had dinner with 8 of us in Hawaii not long ago. They make $4 billion a year on a rear view mirror. One related product. Rear view mirror. One product can make you rich. Everyone say one product can make me rich.
One product.
It can make all your heirs, that's H-E-I-R-S, rich. I mean, my estate attorney and Bob's, or no, we've got different estate attorneys now, but my estate attorney is the guy who did all of L. Frank Baum's estate. Who's L. Frank Baum? Insurance guy who wrote The Wizard of Oz. His estate makes $100 million a year with little Tin Man on Halloween and all that junk. That's why we said write down your 100-year goal, because all of you were born rich. That's what everyone says. I was born rich.
I was born rich.
Now some of you just haven't bought into the fact that you're born rich. You got 18 billion brain cells, but what we're going to give you is some models to go through so you get it. Everyone say, I got it. Now the I got it seems silly, but you got to have it before you get it. That's what's amazing. It sounds like gobbledygook. But the spiritual laws, I call those things that are not seen as though they were seen and they came to be seen, Bob.
So
it could be an information product, service, or media.
Whether it's a product or a related product, information. How many of you want to write a book again? You see that? So you would be marketing an information product, right? It wouldn't be a car. It wouldn't be a hard, lumpy object. It wouldn't be a pen, something like this. It would be information. Services is where you take your car in to go get it washed. That's a service. And media is an experience that you take somebody through.
Which is next door to Disney. That's an experience. Everyone's saying experience. Disney calls himself the happiest place on the earth, right? And it either is or it isn't for you. But how many have been to Disneyland, Disney World, or Epcot? During the rest of your life, how many plan to go back? I mean, we were close friends with the guy who designed the $9 billion Epcot. He just passed away and Bob did his funeral. But Ken Kerr, for Disney, he met Walt when he was 5 years old, went to work for Walt, and then opened up Epcot. And the writing of the mythology for it was by a guy born in my hometown, Ray Bradbury. But our friend Ken Kerr did all the design.
Millionaires see patterns. Millionaires see patterns.
Everyone say, I see patterns.
Just like
one of your neighbors say, you see patterns.
Just like you saw those Indian faces hidden in that particular piece of art, magnificent piece of art. Most people just don't see those patterns. Millionaires see those patterns. How do we get to see those patterns? Well, we try to teach you how to see them, but it's also going back to your inspiration. You start to see things people don't see. It just kind of pops out at you. How many this weekend have you begun to see a world that you did not see before you walked in this door?
Look around the room. Look around the room. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
We're trying to teach you how to see
of you,
these patterns.
Maybe not 100, but 80 it looks like.
So what we want you to ask, for every product that you are starting to make into something magnificent, you start to ask questions about it. You ask questions that millionaires would ask. For instance, what if we could create a multi-sensory experience with it? What if we take this pen right here? Okay, it's just a stupid pen. All right, well, what if we added some multi-sensory stuff to it? What if there was a smell to this pen like it just puffed this little aroma as you wrote. Every time you wrote, it kind of puffed stuff off of it.
Yeah, it smelled like lavender, which is both a calming smell and an aphrodisiac.
What else could we do to add some multi-sensory stuff to this pen? It could be a flashing light. What else? A warmth. Yeah. Oh, there's one. Look at that. There you go. That's it right there. It's a bubble pen. Oh, there's no bubbles in it? You know, in other words, we can take things and we can add things to the pen to multi-sensitize it. Every product you see could be multi-sensorized. You know? So you start to ask yourself a question about every product that you're going to create. How about this one? Foreign eyes. What if we could take it to the world? Are there products here in America that would make you billions of dollars if you just took them to another country? Are there products in other countries that have made millions over there, but they haven't been brought here yet? Ken Kerr, as you were just mentioning, brought Smurfs here. He found the Smurfs in a toy fair in Germany, brought them here. The kids, they brought all these samples, about 1,000 different samples of all the toys they picked up at the toy fair in Germany. Brought them home and they put a whole bunch of kids in a room with all these toys and just found out which kids the toys loved and kept playing with over and over again. It was these little blue figurines, these little blue figures. And they said, who created the Smurfs? And they forgot the name of the guy, where they got it. They didn't have the sample. They flew back to Europe because they had a hit. They had to go to Frankfurt, all the way to Holland to find where the guy was, or was it Belgium? I can't remember. Finally found the owner of the Smurfs and said, can we license it for America? License it for America. It had been in Europe for 25 years. Brought it here and it became huge here. Question is, every time you look at a product, why don't you ask yourself the question, I wonder if that would sell in China? Would that sell in Turkey? Would that sell where could we sell it? And could I get the license to that? Does the person who's marketing that have a license to sell it all around the world? Etc. These are just questions that start to now kind of, you want to work with a computer? Your brain is a computer. Do you know how you program it? With questions.
Question is the answer in this case.
The question is the answer. If you have a question you can ask yourself and ponder it. Most people ask themselves the wrong questions all the time. Like
how do I get a job? And I'll bet I'm not worth more than 30 to 50 grand a year.
How come I keep screwing up so often?
Wrong question, wrong result. The size of your question determines the size of your result. Everyone say, I'm into big questions from now on. Substantive questions from now on.
I want you to go home and I want you to count up 101 things in your house. Count them up. Toilet paper holder.
Just the other one I picked the other day.
Let me finish. Toothpaste, walls, carpets, dishes. Count up 101 things. As you go through that list of 101 things that you've written down, the things that are in your house right now, ask yourself how many millionaires were made from those things. And the answer is every one of those things made a millionaire. The next question you should ask is, what if I could take that one thing, go down with your intuition. Yeah, number 64, I like that one. Go out 100 years with it. What is this going to be like in 100 years? If you'll ask that simple question, your brain will now, as a computer, powerful computer, will start to create a future of what it's going to be like, a wildly, totally different product than you'd in your house right now. Then the next question is, how can I bring my vision of the future back to today? That in itself, if you did that with every one of the 101 objects in your house today, one of them you were destined to make millions from by using that one simple question. You're going to read about this in the book. There's a chapter in the book where every product can be maximized, minimized, plus, minus, etc. What Mark and I like to do is to take a big concept and to put it into one page. So you look at one page, you got the whole chapter. And these icons may not mean a lot to you now, but as you read through the chapter, you'll understand that the star at the top means to enlighten a product. And the question you'd ask is, how would higher power enlighten this product? How could we enlighten it? Well, the easiest way to enlighten it is to dedicate 10% of it to somebody who needs it. And that enlightens it instantly, just like that.
The second thing I'd say is that, you know, I'm a great fan of Dr. George Washington Carver, who is in 1864 watched his mother pulled into slavery. He bounces around orphanage to orphanage, but they teach him the blue-black speller, first black man to graduate with 3 doctorates in Iowa. Booker T says, look, you got to come down to Tuskegee to help our people. The boll weevil was eating the cotton, but it wasn't eating it because it was strong. It was eating it because it was weak. It's just like garbage doesn't create rats. It feeds them in New York when we have garbage strikes. Point is, he says, okay, God, take your eyes through my heart and see what to do. And he said, grow legumes. And all of a sudden he says, well, what do legumes do? Well, soybeans and peanuts take sun and through photosynthesis put nitrogen back in the soil, make the soil strong again. He talks all the black farmers who've taken over all the farms to grow peanuts. And he said, you have not been studying your entrepreneurship, because Say's law, John Baptiste Say, says an entrepreneur. Everyone say, I'm an entrepreneur?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Take something from a lower value. Everyone say lower value? And makes it into a higher value. Higher value. Higher value. Higher value. Higher value. What Bob and I are trying to do is up your value, and what he did is he said, what I'll do is I'll go into meditation at 4 in the morning again, take God's eyes looking, and in 1 month he had 367 inventions for the peanut at a higher value, and now all the peanut became valuable. It was always valuable, but remember, we said it's hidden in plain sight. Everyone say hidden in plain sight?
Hidden in plain sight.
He came up with peanut oil, peanut milk, and the one we eat all the time is peanut. That is enlightened, because he said, and then, you know, Henry Ford says, well, you got to work for me, and Thomas Edison said, you got to work for me. He said, no, I'm working for, you know, my brothers and sisters down here, and I want to show everybody that they can think. And he turned them on. And if you haven't been down to Tuskegee, Alabama, you need to go down there sometime. But that's enlightened.
So every product can be completely transformed. That's the point. Everything you see can be transformed, and this is a model where everything you see in your house can be plus, minus, minimized, maximized, enlightened, residualized, multiple streamed, A plus B. Well, Mark and I are A plus B. I was successful, he was successful, we added each other to each other, and we become less successful. But
that was a joke.
You know, your telephone has got a PDA in it, right? You take a PDA and you take a telephone, you add it together. Your telephone's got a camera in it. You take a camera and a telephone, you add them together, and you have another product. You A plus B it. When you add something to a product, can you millionize it? Tell me a product that was an ordinary nothing product, and somebody added one little thing to it and made $1 billion from it.
Anyone, raise your hand. M3P?
Post it. Post it.
Sir.
An ordinary
tissue paper.
Tissue paper had a fragrance to it. Give me some more. What? Pet rock? Pet rock?
Pet rock?
How about water? What is more expensive than a gallon of gasoline? Water. I mean, you could get it from a tap, for crying out loud. Just turn the tap. But no, I got to go buy it in a bottle because somebody put some vitamins in there, something like that. Or they took something out of it, they minused it, they made it pure. They brought it from the deepest part of the earth, sucked it right out of there, put it into an expensive bottle, and sell it more expensive than gas, right? That's what you do when you plus or you minus something.
Now, our other friend that minused it, some of you that live in California, you go to Carl Karcher's, it's a hamburger place, and Carl Karcher's 87, was getting a little portly. He said, the carb thing's big. We'll do the first 2 years ago, no carb burger, took away the buns, kept the hamburger and the lettuce and the sesame seeds, wrapped it in paper, charged $1 extra. Everyone say $1 extra? He took away the buns, charged $1 extra, made $1 billion in his first month. Point your temples, go, that's interesting. Everyone touch your heart, say, I can do this. I can do this. Touch your neighbor's shoulder, say, you can do this.
You can do this. So as you're sitting in your living room tonight, whenever you get home.
After you write 101 goals and send us a copy at markvictorhansen.com, we'll send it back in a year. But you're going to write, write what you're going to do to it.
And you're going to look at an object, whatever it is. There's a garbage can, all right? Or there's a pen, or there's a telephone. And you're going to ask yourself the question, what could I take away from that to make it $1 billion product? What could I add to that? What could I add together with it, A plus B? How could I minimize it, maximize it? What is the plus sign and the minus sign we just went through? Multiply. How can I multiply it? The multiplying idea is what happened with Price Club. Price Club happened right here in California. Was it 1974 or something like that? A guy says, let's just create a great big huge building like a warehouse. Let's not make it pretty. Let's make it as ugly as possible. Let's have these big carts that you have to feel like you're a construction worker to use. And let's package gum instead of selling onesies and twosies. Let's package a package of gum with 500, packets in it or something crazy idea and sell it really cheap. I mean, Price Club started right here where they took an idea. And there were thousands of grocery stores, hundreds of thousands of grocery stores. And he says, I'm going to take it and I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to figure out a way to sell not just one, but sell 50 at a time. And let's make a store big enough to do that. So, and what I'm trying to say is that everything can be transformed.
I want to hitchhike on that, though. Saul Price is a guy who created it down in San Diego, his neighbor. And Saul called me up after our book was blowing 20,000 a week through his stores. And he said, Mark, man, we love your book, but everybody thinks it's a cookbook. We want a cookbook. I said, Sully, I love you, pal, but we don't do cookbooks. He said, the first order is $250,000. I said, Saul, we can do a cookbook? Now, what company slows down or product or service?
And they made $1 billion from it. Aging, absolutely. That's a whole new field.
The anti-aging stuff is where the big money is going to be.
What else can we slow down and make $1 billion from it?
Sorry?
Think about it.
Time release. By the way, that's called chelation in herbs and vitamins. Yes.
Time release drugs. Exactly. That made $1 billion from that.
What else? Ketchup.
Ketchup. Ketchup. Cracking the angel code. Let's just talk about that for a few minutes. What is an angel? Well, there are visible angels and invisible angels. What is a visible angel? You're looking at them. You're looking at them. Each of you has a group of people that you meet with on a regular basis to become part of your team. Yes or yes? If you don't, you need to. An angel is a person that brings their gifts, their talents to you. And you don't have those gifts and talents, and you kind of form a team together. And each of those angels, the word angel is actually another acronym, and we use lots of acronyms, too many. Actually, when we were sending the manuscript and our editor said, there's so many acronyms in this book. And so we actually made up another acronym that you get to decide what it means. You get to create your own acronym. This is the word angels, what it means. An angel is a person who has assets. That's for the A. Or tools, equipment. They got something physical. Or maybe money. Credit, whatever, they got assets. They're going to help you make your deal happen. The N stands for a network. Exactly. A network. Meaning, somebody you bring into your team may have a network connection. For instance, one of the reasons I'm a partner with Mark, I'm pretty much of a loner, to tell you the honest truth. My wife married this guy, but when I go home, I'm not this guy. When he goes home, he is that guy. He is just like that in every scenario possible. I'm only this right here. But when I get home, I'm very, very shy, frankly. Very shy. It's hard to believe that, isn't it? I'm pretty much of a loner. I'll go in my room. And anyway, for a network, I'm not good at networking. I suck at networking. But this guy, when you look in the dictionary, the word network is a picture of him. How many people has he talked about? Here I'm standing on the stage. Every time I tell a story, he knows the guy or the gal. It's just he knows more people than anybody I have ever met. And on your team of angels, you need to have somebody like that. Someone who likes to network. I don't like to network. I'm pretty much a loner. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. Well, I'll just do it all myself, man. I don't need anybody else. And him, he is just amazing. He has a skill I do not have. The reason that we do well is because I've got skills he doesn't have. Not very many. But
is this we prayed and you said you'd be humble for a change? Everyone go, oh, Bobby.
So you need somebody on your team who is a networker, who actually thrives to bring people into your team. The G in your angel spells, and when you see somebody, they have a genius about them. We all do have genius. But they have skills or talents. Something about them brings to the table some skill, some genius that you just can't find anywhere else. And so when you're looking at somebody, you really, the question you're asking is, what is your genius? What do you bring to the table that nobody else in the world could bring to the table? You need an angel like that. The E stands for their education or experience. Maybe they have an experience of if it's a fundraiser, raising funds for thousands of different churches. Well, you don't have that experience. Well, then I bring them into my team because of their experience. Because they know, bam, just like that, exactly who to talk to, what to say. They've done it 1,000 times before, but you haven't. So you bring somebody on your team who has. The L stands for the light. Meaning, and I'm glad to my daughter Ame, who was singing the song about light. On your team, does that person have light? Meaning, do they believe in higher power? Are they a giver? Do you want somebody on your team who's not a giver? Why would you allow that person to be on your team? If giving is so powerful, if higher power blesses people, you would want to find a giver to be on your team. You want to have a light, an enlightened person. It also means somebody that believes in a higher power. Do they believe in a higher power? When you start talking about higher power, will they be offended? Will it make their skin crawl? It makes some people's skin crawl, and that's okay. They'll find out one of these days. You want to bring somebody on your team, when you say those kinds of words, they're going to go, yeah, let's pray. Like today, we're having breakfast over at the Coco's, whatever it is. Mark reaches out and grabs my hands, and he says, let's pray. We never eat without praying. I always eat almost without praying. I mean, I just do it naturally. I just eat. He won't even start it up. We have a meeting up there in the room. Grabs everybody's hands. Let's pray. I mean, this is the kind of person you want on your team, who just naturally flows that way. And I'm one that's learning it, frankly, and he's the guy who's teaching it. The S in angels is serendestiny. Serendestiny is a word that we've coined. The serendipity is the magical, incredible discovery process of serendipity. And the destiny part is having them stumble into somebody that they were destined to meet. Meaning, is a person on your team maybe going to stumble into somebody in a month from now? They have nothing to bring to the team. Nothing. But there's something about you goes, there's a reason you're supposed to be on our team. I don't know. You don't really know that higher power is saying this person doesn't have a lot of the skills you need, but I'm going to have them stumble into something that they are the only person who can stumble into it. Get them on your team. And when they stumble into what I'm going to have them stumble into, you'll know why they're supposed to be on your team. It's called serendestiny. It's the magical part. So when the word angels means bringing people on your team who have those kinds of resources, and then forming a team and working with that team to create some magical, incredible, powerful, multi-million-dollar ideas that will come because you've attracted people like that, right? That's what. And once again, we can't spend a whole lot of time on this question. But how can I attract angels to help me? Well, you're going to attract visible angels who are going to be part of what we call your inner circle. And that's going to be surrounded by what we call your virtual team of people that are geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci or Thomas Edison. Have a group of people that become your kind of virtual mentors. We call that. That's a lot of time to talk about it. And then around you, we have what we call your winner circle, which is every single one of you knows 100 people, 100 successful people. Every single of the people you know knows 101 successful people, and every one of those people knows 101 successful people. Within 3 phone calls of your phone, you have access to 1 million people from the 101 people you know. Which ones of those people should higher power connect you to? In other words, from the people you already know from your living room, there are 1 million people you could contact who knows who. Somebody on that outer circle probably has all the answers to every problem you have to bring your product to market and to market it for millions of people. You are 3 phone calls away from them. We call that your winner's circle. And then finally, the outside circle is a circle of life. They've got almost 7 billion people on the planet. And then the final outside circle is what we call the eternal circle. And there's where we go into how many people have ever lived on this earth? How many people have ever lived on this earth? I hear 9 billion, I hear 18 billion. I read a book, it was actually in a book on Da Vinci, 90 billion. And who knows who's right? The question I'm asking you is, where are they right now? Well, we know where 6.5 billion of them are. Where are the other 84 billion of them? How many of you believe there is an afterlife? Do they get to influence us? We're trying to attract people into our funnel. We're trying to bring them to the event like this, so we can maybe influence them somehow. It's going to cost so much money to bring them. Do you know how it would be much more cheap? Much more less expensive? If you brought them. If you brought them, we wouldn't have to spend $1 million. And we could give the $1 million away. You crack this code, you will be rich. You don't crack this code, more than likely, you will be one of the 95% of the businesses that will fail in the next 5 years. Almost guarantee it. You crack this code. This is simple. This is it. Most businesses do not do this. When you bring somebody into your door as a customer, you love them. And you give them as much as you can give them. Why do you love them? Why do Mark and I love you? We don't need to love you. We got enough money in the bank. We don't need to love you. We're okay. Why do we love you? The reporters that come and interview this and see what goes on here, they don't get this. They don't understand. Why do we love you? Because you're our brothers and sisters. You are literally my brother and my sister. I want you to win because we're part of His business with a capital B. And we love you. You may think we are just saying that. No, we love you. Now, we're trying to crack His code. We haven't cracked it yet. We're trying to learn it. But if we treat you like stars, and I think we did a little bit of that last night, didn't we? If we'll treat you like stars, you will feel like stars. You will see what we see. We see your value. You are so valuable to us, not because we want to make money from you, but because you're so valuable. You're so priceless. You have to treat you like stars. And if you learn how valuable you are and you get the feeling of, hey, I can have a little plaque here and a little bigger thing here and I can get that big one. If we treat you like stars, then you'll say, come on. You'll bring your friends back and you'll go, these guys treat us like stars. You got to see this. You can't believe this. You got to watch. They actually hug stuff from every once in a while. If we can get to them in the doggone lines of them, but they'll even hug us. If you'll treat your customer like a star, you'll never have to spend another dime in advertising.
Bob, let me give you an example of that. We have a friend in Australia who's the highest paid dentist in the world. His name is Dr. Paddy Lund. A couple of years ago, he is ready to commit suicide. As you know, dentistry has the highest suicide rate in the world because they look in a little black hole that smells bad, looks bad, and most people that come in go, I hate you, and I hate dentistry, and it makes you feel real good about your profession after spending 28 years becoming a dentist. Patty went, P-A-D-D-Y, went on a hiatus, and he meditated, cogitated, ruminated, and says what works and what doesn't work. He had 4,000 patients, a vast clinic, and he said, I don't like 3/4 of them. They don't resonate with me, I don't resonate with them. They're not stars for me, and I'm not stars for them. I'm extricating myself. He owned velour seats, and some of you have been in dentist chairs like that, and the guys would come in their oily pants from the mechanic shop and wreck his stuff, so he took those guys and put them with dentists that loved the oily secrets of cars. Not that they're good or bad, it's just they didn't resonate with Patty. And he says, from now on, when you come in here, you got to like, love, respect, and admire me, and I like, love, and respect, and admire you, and it's no longer Dr. Lund. It's from now on, you're going to call me Patty, and I'm going to call you by your first name, and the way it's going to work is that you get my home phone number. And his home calls went from 12 to 20 a week down to 1 to 2 a year, because now it's human being, human being. You're no longer going to be a patient, that's who you work on. You're going to be a client, that's somebody you work with. And in my office, it does not say dentistry. It's going to have an apple, and it says by appointment only. And when you come in, there's no longer a glass thing there. Swear to God, you got an appointment with the big guy. It's going to be, we're going to have a director of wonderful outside that welcomes you into the practice. And when LaDon sits down with the director of wonderful, she says, what's a director of wonderful? My only job here is to make sure you have a wonderful experience at our dental practice. Everyone go, oh, it gets better. He has hot cinnamon buns rolling out with big fans 4 times a day, wafting out into the room, which they give to the patient. And if she likes them, they get to take them home. He has a $7,000 cappuccino machine, which his CPA said, couldn't you have gotten it wholesale? The guy missed the whole point of being a star. And he says, LaDon, to be my patient, you've got to find me 3 like-minded patients for one reason, so I'll be here when you need me next. He has a waiting list practice of people that want to be with him, because everybody loves him, and once a month he has a party, and everybody networks with everybody, and we're going to do that better. A lot of the foreign nationals in here said we're from Germany and we didn't get to meet the other Germans. We're from Nigeria and we didn't meet the other Nigerians. We're from Japan. That'll be changed next time we get it. Some of you gave us the feedback, we got the message. Same thing here. We're going to just do constant, never-ending improvements, and you're going to keep making the people stars. We're going to refine your starness. We're going to refine how fast you can make your money, and you're going to bring us the rest of the stars. Just like Patty said, if you want to be my patient, you got to bring me 3 new patients a year that like and love dentistry and like and love me. Because Bill Cosby says, I'll just finish with this, that a dentist is the only one in the world that can make your butt walk across a chair.
That's a perfect story. It's an
Yeah.
absolutely perfect story for taking some ordinary business like dentistry that people hate to go to the dentist and make them absolutely love to go to this dentist, because he's totally made them into stars, and he's made a fortune doing it. He's a multi-million.
And he only works 22 hours a week, so he owns the practice doesn't own him. Everyone say, I own the business doesn't own me. At the front end, maybe you got to be out of balance to get in balance. You got to work 80 or 100 hours a week like any good immigrant. But after a while, you know, Bob and I could do this 4 days a quarter, and that's all we need to do, except we like to do it.
Your business is about you bringing people in the door and saying, what would you like? Let me feed it to you. And you feed them really well. Then they're going to come back and say, and what would you like? And that's the vision of heaven and hell. That star code is about cracking that one. Most businesses, what do they do? What do they do? Do they ever call you back? Now, every once in a while they'll send you a letter and say, I hope you come in and buy some more stuff. But they very rarely ever communicate with you. Almost the entire effort of the entire company is focused on finding new people. And they bring them in the door, and they don't care the ones that, when they come in the door, they say, fine, done, and they're always looking for new people. If they just took that same marketing dollars and focused it right back on the people who just walked in the door and treat them like stars, these people would go out into the world and drag their friends to it. Within a few miles of here is a perfect example of that, Disneyland. And what was Walt's famous statement? Do what you do so well that they want to come back again and again and bring their friends. That's a hard one to crack. Walt cracked it. He cracked it. We're trying to crack it with you. We challenge you to crack that code. And if you do, you will not fail. Not only will you not fail, you will be wealthy beyond your wildest imaginations. 100-folding is right there. You want to launch it?
What happens is that when I did a little electronic Bible read, it said 38 out of 66 chapters. In some iteration, you're supposed to 100-fold. So Bob and I said, well, no one has ever taught that. I studied with all the prosperity ministers, so I said, let us figure it out. Because most of you just know the New Testament stuff, 30, 60, 100-fold. And we started looking around. We saw how many plants did we find out that 100-fold. We started with wheat.
Wheat, 100-folds. Papaya, 100-folds. Watermelons, 100-fold. Strawberries. Take a strawberry. Can you imagine one? Where's the seed in a strawberry? How many of them are there? There are 500 seeds. Each of those tiny little seeds on the outside of a strawberry could be planted in the ground and create a whole string of strawberry plants from that one tiny little seed. Higher power, 100-folds every second. All around you, 100-folding is taking place.
So we said, look, it's normal and natural. Everyone say it's normal and natural. I just don't know where this slide goes. So we said, look, just real quick through Bob's and my story, we both checked out our own life, and, you know, Bob writes nothing down, and he says, well, wait a second, or before he wrote it, he's going to do a seminar, charge $100 each, and he takes out a little $25 ad, and 100 people show up. 100 times 100 is 10,000. Then all of a sudden he does an infomercial. 100 times 10,000 is $1 million, and he immediately made $1 million on the infomercial. I'm condensing a very long story into consolidate it, and I'm not going to do my part. You 100-fold it again, you got 100 million, and it goes to 10 billion. Everyone go, wow.
What I want you to know is that there are not only Scott Lambs in my past, but they're sitting right here in the audience too. Some of you are going to be up on this stage training and teaching and doing because you lived it. That's how you get up on this stage. You live it. We hope that all of us will do as much as possible to live the best way we can. We're not all perfect, but I want you up here. Not only just getting an award, but I want you to teach this stuff. Did you enjoy that? I hope so. We want to teach you how to become financially free as fast as possible. You have $1 million idea. You really do. And you were destined for wealth. What we call enlightened wealth. Wealth that creates financial freedom for yourself, prosperity, abundance for yourself, and a way to help the rest of the world at the very same time. Doesn't that feel good? It feels good to me anyway. And I want you to achieve financial freedom using the techniques taught in this book that I want to give you for free. It's called Cracking the Millionaire Code, Your Key to Enlightened Wealth. If you call us at 1-800-371-9876 or go to crackingthemillionairecode.com/gift, you can receive a free copy of this book just for shipping and handling. In addition to that, we have a couple of teleconferences we want to invite you to, where we can teach you live on the telephone exactly how you can become financially independent, how you can move to the next step as quickly as possible. We invite you to be part of our team. We know you can be. We know you are destined for wealth. It's your time, it's your time, it's your time, and this is your day. Good luck. It's your friend and mentor, Mr. Robert Allen.